Just warmed up.
Can we breathe?
Are you cold?
I'm better now. Yeah, I'm good.
Oh,
I was good
You were chilly in here or after the cold plunge?
after the cold plunge.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Immediately after. I couldn't feel my toe. I wasn't worried about stepping on the stones because I couldn't even feel my feet.
Yeah, you can't feel them.
Yeah, James did a cold plunge today with Donna, and the temperature was how much was the temperature? 38?
I think 38.
38.
Probably 38, yeah.
Couldn't feel your feet.
Yeah.
A balmy 38 degrees. It was the first time in an actual lake.
You did great.
Not the same with a tequila hangover in Cabo
Yeah.
at the spa, at the resort. Not quite that cold there.
The polar plunges at the resort are not like a lake in Cape Cod.
No. All right, well, we got a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. We have a very special episode for you today. Let's roll.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey listeners, ever wonder what it would be like to blow up your comfort zone at the tender age of 50? Well, we did just that. When our last kid went off to college, we hit the road in search of a new hometown. Now we bounce from city to city and bring you along for the ride. This is the Skip Town All-Stars podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Skip Town. Hope you all are doing well. Just a reminder, if you are watching us on YouTube, to please hit that subscribe button. Give us a like, give us a couple comments. It certainly helps out our algorithm. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, won't you please give us a rating? And Apple Podcasts, we always love a great review. Unless, of course, you're going to give us a bad one. In that case, disregard everything I just said.
Just keep it. Just keep it. And Donna, our special guest today, started following us on Instagram, and here we are spending time with her. So if you follow us, we can be spending time with you too, if you're lucky. I mean, I don't know. Time will tell. You may unfollow.
Right.
Yes.
It's only been what, 3 days? maybe?
Exactly. Yeah. Another 24, and she actually may unfollow.
Yeah.
That's right. So it's equally a threat and a promise.
Yep.
So tell us how this all came to be with Donna. Why don't you lead?
Oh my gosh. So Donna is our guest today on the show because Donna has a great story. I want her to share it with everyone. I did not know about Donna's great story until she started following us on Instagram. And that was probably last May or June because we interviewed Amy Cotney, and you follow her.
Right.
And Amy is a real estate agent in Auburn, Alabama. And if you don't know who she is, look at her Instagram. She's very colorful, quite informative on real estate, like really has some great information in the clips and the posts and the stories that she shares. But we met Amy, and then she gave us a shout out. And then you started following us.
Yes. Yeah.
And the first thing I learned about Donna was that Donna is doing exactly what James and I are doing. She is looking for her forever home after selling her home, but she's doing it solo with 2 doggies. So when she told me that she was following our adventure because she wanted to see, some of the cities that we liked or disliked, because she's still trying to find her own, I immediately had to message her back and say, wait, hold on, you're doing this by yourself? Because I actually, I thought, okay, well, she's got a husband or a partner or somebody that she's traveling with because it's a lot of work. No, you're not.
Solo.
So let's talk about, tell everyone your name, where you lived when you sold your home, and how long you've been on the road looking for a new home.
Yeah. So I lived on Cape Cod when I was still in my home on Cape Cod when I found you guys, and I followed Amy just because I knew eventually I was going to move. Mm-hmm. And Amy's just such a, you have to follow, like Denise said, follow Amy.
Yeah.
She's an enigma, for sure.
She's great, and you want to move wherever Amy's listing a house, you want to move there.
I know.
So that
Truth.
was when I saw you guys were following her, and then I saw you guys were doing what you were doing. I was like, well, that's where I'm going to be shortly. So I'm probably about 6 months behind you guys, right?
Because you were packing, I think.
I was packing. Mm-hmm. So I've been on Cape Cod for 8 years, and I was ready to move, but I wasn't sure where I was going to move to. So I just loved that you guys were doing that because I was like, I'm going to follow their lead because I was scared. I knew I was doing it on my own with my 2 dogs, and that was 9 months ago. So, and I've been all over the place, mostly East Coast to like the middle of, the U.S. and just out west to visit my kids.
Okay, so tell us about your children, first of all.
Okay, I have 2 children. I have a son who is 26, a daughter who is 30, and they're both out in San Diego.
They're both in San Diego.
Both in
Southern
San Diego.
California.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
And what made you decide, like, take us back to the beginning. You came to Cape Cod, you lived here for 8 years. What made you decide to up and move? And also, are you traveling in an RV, in a minivan? What are you traveling around in?
I am traveling in right now, my new car, but originally when I started, I was in a Jeep.
Okay.
So just in a Jeep with a crate in the back, with the 2 dogs in the back. And what made me decide was I just had a feeling. I'm kind of intuitive with everything, and it was a feeling that it was time for a change. I had been on the Cape for 8 years, and I just felt like, okay, now's a time for a change. And I wasn't sure where I wanted to go. I knew when I came to the Cape that I wanted to be somewhere coastal.
Yeah.
And it was everything I dreamed of for 8 years. And then I just felt like, okay, it's time for a change.
And where did you come from when you came to the Cape? Where were you moving
So
from?
originally from New Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah.
And-
Born and raised my kids in my house for 20 years. And then they were both in college. And when they were both in college, I said, okay, time for a change.
So was there like a magazine article you read? Was somebody at work like spurred this idea? Like what ignited it? Because it had to be something. Like were you watching a TV show and you were like, I want to do this? I mean, or did you literally wake up one day and say, I'm out of here?
No, it definitely wasn't. I woke up one day and I'm out of here. It was just a feeling that I wanted to move. I wanted to do a cross country trip. Like that's always been my dream. So this was kind of fulfilling that. And where do I want to live next? Yeah. So it wasn't like I woke up one day and was like, okay, I'm ready to move. It was a stirring that was for a couple of years.
Oh, a couple
It was
years.
definitely a couple of years stirring. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because your
I'm a-
children were
I'm a
getting
slow-
established.
Yeah.
They were doing their thing.
They
and
were
you were
doing
like,
their
I'm going to
thing.
do my thing.
Yeah, I'm ready to do my thing.
Yeah.
I wanted to still have a home base for them, even though they weren't happy with me when I uprooted them from New Jersey to the Cape. They're both established in San Diego for a little while at least. So I wanted to do something more for me.
So the first question I know everybody's asking at home that's listening is, why not just go to San Diego? I know a little bit about you, and I know why you haven't picked San Diego. I think I know why from our conversations, but tell everyone, like, that's an easy move. Just do that.
And that's what most people said when they realized I was moving, they were like, oh, she's going to San Diego.
Right.
And I kept saying, no, I'm not going to San Diego. But eventually I might go to San Diego because I love my kids. But and when there's grandchildren, I think we talked about that. Then San Diego, I'll be living next door, knocking on the door, and being the grandma. But right now, there's like so much. I've traveled a little bit outside the U.S., but I feel like there's so much to see in the United States that I just wanted to see it. You know, there's just so much beauty here. I was like, I want to see as much as I can. I wanted to do all the national parks and stuff like that. So, I love to travel, and that was like I want to see as much as I can, and that kind of stirred, really, I guess, the beginning. Yeah.
And did you travel much prior to this decision? So when you were living on the Cape, so let's say you've lived here for 8 years. Let's say year 6, you started thinking, I'm going to do this. I'm gonna move. Yeah. Prior to that, did you do any long road trips? Were you like
test runs?
Test runs, that's perfect.
Test runs. I did not do any test runs. I don't think.
Donna.
I don't think I did any test runs. Yeah, I do have a reputation of I jump in and I check to see if there's any actual water in the pool before I.
No guts, no glory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it.
So, yeah, it's more just a feeling like, you know what? It's a stirring, it's something, and I kind of go with it. So, yeah.
Now, the interesting thing about Donna, well, I find it interesting because if you've been listening to the show, you know I don't like cold weather. And the interesting thing about Donna is that she doesn't like hot weather. So Donna is searching for a place to call home that's cold.
Yes, I am. I know, I'm crazy. Yeah, not normal. People thought when I moved here to the Cape that it would be too cold. They're like, you're going to hate the winters and it's so cold. And I love the cold.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do love the cold.
So where have you traveled? in the cold climate so far?
So far. So when I first left the Cape, the first place I landed was Maine, because I've always loved Maine. And I have a best friend in Maine, and so I left, and she was my first stop. And it was June, so it wasn't as cold as I would have liked it to be, but it's still cold in Maine in June.
Okay.
So
what do you consider cold?
Oh gosh, what do I consider cold?
Like May, what was June in Maine?
Or in your case, ideal.
Like,
Since you like the
I
cold.
don't like it above 80. So, I mean, it definitely wasn't 80. It was probably in the 70s, which was nice. And the water was still cold up there because it hadn't warmed up for the summer. So I could do my cold plunging.
Right.
So I would say it was probably in the 70s.
Oh, okay.
And warm enough that I was able to stay. She has an RV on her property, a little camper. So she was like, do you want to stay in the camper or the house? And I was like, I want to stay in the camper. Because I want to kind of test out how does that feel, because that's always been like, do I get an RV? Do I get a van? Do I do that instead of my Jeep at the time that I was driving?
Got it. What part of Maine was that?
She's in Brownfield, Maine.
Brownfield.
In the woods.
Wow, okay.
About 20 minutes
That's
from
like inland?
Connecticut. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm 20 minutes from North Conway, New Hampshire.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And by the way, I'm just going to go back for one quick second. If you didn't catch that, Donna said that the water in Maine was still cold enough to do a cold water plunge, because that is something Donna does every single day. So being in a cold climate is really conducive, and being near water. But we've been talking, and not all the places you're finding are near water. So the cold water plunges are going to have to be manufactured, aren't they?
It might have to be. It might have to be. Depending on where I end up, it might have to be.
But while you're traveling, you're actually able to find bodies of water where you can do the plunge.
Yeah, I've been so fortunate to find bodies of water. Like 2 of my first Airbnbs that I stayed at happened to have creeks in the back.
Yeah.
And that I didn't even know.
Wow.
And I got there, I was so maybe I'll back up. And so I went from Maine to Vermont.
Okay.
And when I got to Vermont, Maine was with a friend, Vermont was an inn, and I was there to celebrate. It would have been my 25th wedding anniversary, and we had vacation there for another anniversary. I wanted to go back and kind of just do that, just to kind of send me off. It was kind of like a send off from my late husband to do that.
Yeah.
So I stayed at an inn. The inn we had stayed at 20 years ago was not there anymore. So I found one. I found one close by, and I got there and I said to some woman walking her dog, like, where can I swim here? And it was June. It was still June. And she's like, oh, you can swim right here in this pond. And it was on the property of the inn, but I didn't know it was swimmable. And it was like, okay, thank you, universe, thanks. So every
Your husband
morning,
was watching. He's like, honey, here's a pond right here
and
for
there
you.
was, and I mean, I was the only one swimming in there. It was still, it's still cold June in, Vermont. It's still chilly, nobody, and, so it was nice. I woke up every morning, just walked down by myself. I was able to do a dip. And so that was really nice. And then same thing happened in New York. The first two places I rented in New York, I walked in and I heard water. I thought like the washer or the the washer or something was overflowing.
Right.
And I walked out onto the porch and there was a creek in the backyard.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, this is too good to be true.
Nice.
That is
So
too
it was
good to
really
be true.
nice. Yeah. So
Okay, how do
it
you
definitely-
know if a
yeah.
place is swimmable? How do you know that? If the creek, like a creek, I
Well-
think mud and I think sticks and I think leeches immediately.
Leeches.
Yeah. Well,
Always to the straight to the leeches and the ticks. This one.
Okay, so
yeah.
how do you know?
you can tell. It's clean. Like you can tell it's clean water.
Do you ever worry about putting your foot in and it's going to sink down in the mud?
Well, no, because I can, like in the creeks, you can see the bottom. So,
Okay.
yeah, and I definitely am careful.
Okay.
I definitely like put my toes in and make sure. It was slippery. I mean,
Right.
it was slippery, but I'm careful.
Okay, so let's talk
Yeah.
real quick. Let's rewind, because when Denise first told me that you were into cold plunges, I see this stuff all the time in I'm a TikToker, in my TikTok feed.
Yeah.
All these influencer bros who do this all day, every day. Well, I should say at least once a day.
Right.
Tony Robbins has been doing it for decades.
Yes.
So tell me, how did you get into this? Like, this is your thing.
It's become my thing, which
Yeah.
is crazy
Yeah.
because I lived here filming this on the Cape right now. So I've lived here for 8 years, and I'm not really a swimmer.
Yeah.
So in the 8 years I lived here, I can count probably on both hands how much I swam in the ocean.
So you wouldn't go to the beach or anything?
I would
on
go to the
regular?
beach and go for walks.
Okay.
Bring my dogs there, dip my feet in, cool off a little bit, and come out. And a year and a half ago, I found out that a friend of mine was going in the ocean every day. Through her daughter, she casually told me my mom's swimming in the ocean, and it was November. And I was like, what do you mean? She's swimming in the ocean in November.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So
Without a wetsuit.
Without a wetsuit. And so I kind of got curious, and I just did a little research. Why is she doing it? And the curiosity got the best of me, and I started, where are we, 24, I guess October of 22. September, October.
Almost, so at least a year and a half.
Year and a half, yeah. Wow. I just said, I'm gonna see how this feels. And I was totally not polished the way you're supposed to do it. Yeah. I went screaming into the ocean and stayed in there as long as I could, probably under a minute, and came screaming out and ran home and got in a hot shower. Everything you're not supposed to do in cold plunging.
Okay.
But so
that's a cold plunge fail right there.
It took me a while, and then I connected with my girlfriend who did it, and she was like, why are you going under as soon as you get in? Why are you screaming? And I was like, okay, this is more of a meditative practice.
Right.
So, and did a little bit more research, and then I ended up getting certified in the Morozko method, which is a method that has an ice bath that is manufactured. They make their own ice, and that's my goal, is to guide people in that.
Got it.
Yeah, because it's been kind of life-changing for me.
So if you move to a warmer climate, you're going to scoop up one of these devices.
Yes,
and,
if there's not a creek in my backyard, I will be scooping up one of those devices. Yeah.
What is the benefit? I mean, I knew nothing about cold water plunge other than it's cold, and I don't understand people that do it. I really think, like, I remember back in, like, when I was a teenager, I would see the old guys in Chicago jump off of the pier in January, and they were called the polar bears.
Right.
I never understood why they were doing it. You mentioned health benefits, meditation.
Right.
The first time you screamed running in and screamed running out, why did you go back?
Why did I go back? I think because probably back then it was more like, it gave kind of like a boost, like an energy boost. And then the more that I researched it and realized how good the health benefits were, your immune system, circulatory. I have a little bit of arthritis, and I noticed that it was going away. And right now I don't really have any symptoms of the arthritis that had started.
Wow.
Which is really nice because it was my knees. And so that was those benefits. Like I shared with James earlier, it's kind of like, you go to the gym for an hour. You're in the water for 3 to 4 minutes, and you're kind of feeling the same when you come out.
It's shocking you into shape.
Yeah, and it's
in my case.
Yeah, and the meditative part of it also, which I shared with you guys before, was you are able to respond to things different. It's a hard thing to do. So, like, we do hard things, and when we do hard things, it allows you to not be reactive and be more responsive. So it's just it makes me a better person.
Whoa.
Really.
So seriously, you notice a difference from your personality, your mood.
Definitely.
Since you started doing this.
Absolutely, yeah.
Holy cow. I did not anticipate you saying that.
Yeah, and I think my kids would, if you asked my kids, they would say that too. So it's been
really, been a calming factor in your life.
Yeah, it is.
Have you ever gone more than a couple weeks without doing it?
I probably have, just because of the traveling. Maybe, if I'm not by a body of water, it's going to be a cold shower, which if you're doing cold showers out there, they're horrendous, and they're way harder than full immersion. They're way harder. So I will do cold showers when I don't have a creek in my backyard or the ocean down the street or a pond or something. I'll do cold showers.
Do you notice your temperament changing if you've gone too long without a cold plunge?
Yes.
Whoa.
You
do? Yeah. I know I have to get near the water, or I got to get in that cold shower. So, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's amazing. So, I have a question.
Yeah.
Had you not been doing these cold water plunges, do you think you would have done this journey?
I think Yes, I do think
Okay.
so. Yes, because it was definitely before that.
Okay.
But I found it funny that I started doing them
In the middle of
in
traveling.
the middle. Because my house was on the market when I started.
Okay.
Like literally around the same time my house
Okay.
was on the market
Okay.
when I started. So I definitely had already decided. But I just found it ironic that I've lived here for 8 years and didn't use the water the way I've been using it for the last year and a half.
It's kind of
Right.
amazing.
So it's pretty, but it's good. It all happens the way it's supposed to happen.
Okay, so let's talk real quick, if
Yeah.
you could, about Cape Cod, because you
Yeah.
were kind enough to host us this week.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank
for
my friends.
everything.
Oh, yes.
It's,
Thank you.
know, like the rest of our trip to the Northeast this time around, we're catching it in the winter, or at least, spring hasn't begun yet.
Yeah.
But it's gorgeous around here.
It is
Do you
gorgeous.
miss it? Are you gonna miss it? I know you pop back in and out.
I do pop back
because-
in and out. Yeah, I definitely will miss Cape Cod. Cape Cod is, if you haven't been here, I think it's one of the most beautiful places, really. Even abroad, and I've been to Greece, I've been to different places abroad, and I think it's just got something special about it. The bodies of water are just beautiful. So I definitely will miss that. I will miss that, having, the water right there.
Right.
I'm gonna miss it.
There's so much water.
There's so
everywhere.
much water.
Yeah.
Everywhere. We
Yeah.
passed 3 ponds on the way to get to
Yeah,
the one that we actually
exactly.
took a dip in today.
Yeah.
So
So
the
I-
ocean's like all around us.
The ocean's all around. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
If you haven't been here, come. It's
Yeah,
beautiful.
it's pretty amazing. And I think what's made it extra special for us is having you. Gosh, you've hosted us, you've been tour guide. It's so nice to have you show us around, because it wouldn't be the same experience for
I'm
sure.
not sure we would have ever stopped in Chatham.
No.
Had
Yeah.
we not.
I know,
right?
and that's why
I do
when
not.
you guys told me you were so close, I was like, you guys have to come to the Cape.
Yeah, it was-
you're too close to not just be able to experience this.
And when you said
Yeah.
that we were going to meet, for a little backstory, Donna and I and James were all going to meet somewhere halfway. And then we were kind of going back and forth. And I remember saying to him, maybe we could just go there. And we originally planned on just getting a hotel and maybe spending a couple nights. And then
Right.
you were so kind to open up your offer for us to stay. So thank you. And it's been fantastic. And definitely something that you read about the Cape when you're on the West Coast.
Yeah.
If you're in the Midwest, you've read about it, you've seen magazines, and to see it in person, it's everything that you see, but you're seeing it in person. It's incredible. So the fact that you lived here,
I know.
it's
It
pretty
was-
magical.
it
I
is.
keep using that word. I think the word magical for Newport. I've used it for Connecticut. There's just something different. And it's being on the water too. That makes it different.
Yeah. And hopefully the sun will come out for you guys.
I know. I was just going to say,
Yeah.
it's not even like the weather's the most amazing right
Right.
now, but
Yeah.
still, it's, if you can, I know whatever shots I add to this podcast that we've taken from around town on the GoPro are not going to do it justice. Like seeing it in person, it really is spectacular even now.
Yeah.
And it's closed, by the way. Everything is closed right now. 80% of the Cape
Yeah.
is closed.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're saying we still love it is pretty incredible, because, things, I was telling Donna I'm a night owl, and she just laughed out loud. And I said, what? And in your response, you remember you said, well, you'll be back home by 7 or 8. It was really funny.
Yeah.
And I was
Me-
like, oh, okay.
It's getting dark at 4:30. So I asked you what time it was last night, and you said it's 6:13. I swear to God, I thought it was 9:45 or something like that.
Yeah, that was an adjustment. It was an adjustment because, being from New Jersey, you guys being from LA, right?
Yeah.
Everything's open late.
Everything's open.
Yeah.
So it was an adjustment when I moved here.
Yeah, I called the restaurant last night
Yeah.
to make a reservation for today, and I called at 9:30, and they closed at 9.
I
and I was like,
can't believe that somebody answered.
somebody did.
Somebody answered at 9:30. He was walking out the
Yeah,
door.
he was.
walking
The
out
dishes
door.
were done at that point.
Yeah.
He
He
was
was
locking
like-
up.
yeah.
I was like, fun.
I was surprised that when you told me that. I was like, wow, somebody.
Yeah,
answered
and
the
we
phone.
learned it's a lot of second homes, like most places on the East Coast, literally on the water. It's a
Yeah.
second home town. So it had to be weird living here as a local when the town closes, 80% of the town closes.
Yeah, what was that first year like?
It was definitely an adjustment. It's funny, but I swung all the way the other way.
You did.
I did.
Because it's
I
a
swung.
sleepy town.
Yeah, I swung, and I kind of was like, oh, I kind of like this. It's 9 o'clock and it's bedtime.
You embraced it.
I did embrace it. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to your travels. All right, so you go to Maine, you go to Vermont. Why didn't you just stop there? They're beautiful. They're cold.
They are beautiful. They're cold. Because I did have a list of where I wanted to go.
Let's talk about that.
I did want to get through my list.
All right, what was on your list?
So Maine, Vermont, obviously. I wanted to go to Michigan. I had a friend in Michigan.
Okay.
So I did want to, I've always wanted to see
Very
Michigan.
cold there.
Very cold.
What part of Michigan?
So she is not near the coast, but we were able to go north and go to the Great Lakes, and it was just, I was blown away. Have you guys been there?
I have not. I've been to Door County,
But you must-
Wisconsin.
Well, you grew up in Chicago, so you've seen one of the
Lake
lakes,
Michigan,
but
yeah.
not there in
No,
Michigan.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, Lake Michigan, that blew me away.
Yeah, I know. It's
You've been,
incredible.
because you're from Ohio, so
Yeah,
did you,
I mean,
like,
I've seen a ton of Lake Erie. I remember when Lake Erie could burn. So
oh my gosh.
the
From all the
pollution and
chemicals.
everything,
Yeah,
the pollution and all that is
yeah.
better now.
Yeah.
And
But Lake
it is
Michigan is
spectacular.
like it's like
Isn't it the biggest body of water, I believe, right? Like a biggest
believe-
lake, right?
I don't know, Lake Superior. I think that's why the name is
Could
Lake
be.
Superior.
Yes, thank you. Could be.
I'm not sure.
it was.
got me
I've
on
never seen it. The water was like blue green. I mean, not to know nothing bad on the Cape, but it was like the most beautiful blue green water that I've ever seen.
When you go that far north, like Michigan,
gosh.
Wisconsin, that's what you get. When you go
Yeah.
closer to the cities, like
Yeah.
Chicago,
Right.
You're not going to always
Gets a
get.
little more
yeah,
murky.
yeah, but no,
Yeah.
when you go that far north, you're going to
my
see
gosh.
beautiful blue
It
water.
was beautiful. So
Okay.
that was beautiful. And
And it didn't like pull you?
nope, there was I know as soon as I get somewhere, I'm sure you guys, all your traveling, you kind of
Yeah.
know once you
Yeah.
get there. Like I would love to go back on vacation there. I would love to. I'd love to spend a week there. I spent a few days with my girlfriend, and I love that. But I'd love to go back for a week, but definitely not somewhere. And like I said, it's more just a feeling.
Yeah.
Like my people aren't here, but they're really nice people. Everyone was super nice. Food was great. Great to just be right there on the water and
Yeah.
do that water thing that I do. So.
But for whatever reason,
Yeah.
it just did not check all the
No,
boxes.
and I would go back. I would definitely
Yeah.
a place that I'd go back to and even maybe explore it more. But just a great place to vacation, I think. Yeah.
And where did you go after Michigan?
Oh gosh, I should have had a list prepared. Let me think.
That's
Where did I
okay.
go
So
after
you had your
Michigan?
list. So it was Michigan.
Yeah, so that was July, August. I think I went to North Carolina.
Oh, so North Carolina was
Yeah,
on
I
your
had a
list.
wedding in North Carolina, and then I planned on seeing a girlfriend there too and exploring North Carolina because that's always been on my list.
Yeah.
Charlotte. My girlfriend's in Louisville, and love her dearly. So I thought, wow, it would be nice to live right next to a good friend that I went to college with, and they're both great. They were both great cities, but again, it's hot.
I was just going to say, North Carolina is not a cold climate.
Yeah. So this was the end of the summer. It was actually September by the time I got to North Carolina. So
It was still cooking?
There's something in between that I'm probably missing, and that was probably New York State.
Okay.
I think my New York States were in between. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, New York State was August, and those were the two.
Okay, where's
beautiful.
that? Like upstate New York?
Upstate New York, the Catskills.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Accord, New York. I have a sister in Warwick, so I always spend some time there, and that was great too. I know that area really well, so I was just feeling a little more of an itch to find something that I don't know as well and explore a little bit.
Okay.
So the North Carolina trip was great too, but a little too hot. So I just realized I probably don't want the heat, even though I may end up somewhere that's hot. So,
Okay, so let's talk about a little bit about it. So you started realizing okay, this area is a little warm. This region of the country isn't necessarily for me.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, right? That's what you're narrowing it down because you like the cold weather.
yeah.
So did your list then change? Were you the states you wanted to visit? Were they now you're I can't because it's
I mean, definitely not the really hot Florida, South Carolina.
Right.
Probably not. But my list has changed from the beginning. I kind of like you guys. I wanted to be near an airport too because of my two kids in San Diego.
Right.
Sure.
So that's why Vermont and New York kind of got a little bit lower to the list, even though they were pretty high on the list. Vermont and New York were high on the list. Just my kids don't want to do the 2 hours to the airport, or they want to do a direct flight, and I want to be respectful of that for them. It was hard to get to the Cape. That was the other thing.
Yeah.
As beautiful as it is, not everybody visits you, and it's either a long drive from the tri-state where my family is, or a long flight for my kids. So when I started my journey, it was to get closer to family. So I really was focusing on the tri-state, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut.
Makes sense.
But it's changed a little bit. So we'll see. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your journey. So you are doing this you're doing their travels in a car, in a Jeep, with 2 little dogs.
Yes.
What was it? What did you think it was going to be, and what did it actually turn into?
Yeah.
Because what you think it's going to be and what it is are really 2 different things.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I thought it would be okay, what did I think it would be?
I mean, to be honest, because I could tell you with James and I were like rainbow sunshine and like sprinkles with a dog that was just so happy in the back, and it was hot, sweaty, dog crying.
Yes, the part that I definitely didn't anticipate, I just thought they're going to come along for the ride, even though I did consider them, and I thought maybe they're not going to come along for the ride. I'm usually like optimistic to a fault, like, oh, they'll be fine. It's okay, they're fine. My kids used to joke when they got hurt, like, Mom, my knee hurts, you're fine. So I was kind of like, you're fine with the dogs. Like, you don't have to go, they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
But I would say after, July.
Yeah.
So 1 month in.
30 days.
1 month in. And I think that was upstate New York too. So July, I did a couple of trips back and forth to upstate New York. And I ended up having to find a vet because both of them, I'm a walker too, so I love wherever I go, I find the place to walk or hike, and they love to walk and hike with me. So I was doing a little bit too much in the July heat. Okay. So they ended up at the vet, and the vet was like, okay, you need to stop walking so much with them. They both had, like, they were overheated.
Oh, wow.
And had some issues for, at the time, 12-year-old dogs.
Yeah, you have 2.
They're 12-year-old cockapoos.
Yes.
And they're
cute as can be.
As cute as can be, but to uproot 12-year-old dogs and take them on a little road trip that at the time I thought would last 4 to 6 months.
Right.
Like that was originally in my head. I thought this is going to be 4 to 6 months. And 1 month in, they're both at the vet and like, when are we going home?
Wow.
And we completely can.
And that's when I did reach out to you.
You did. And I was like, oh.
You guys have a dog? Because I remember you saying something about a dog. I'm like, help me.
Yeah, and your 2 together are still way more portable than ours.
Yeah.
But, I think looking back on it, I helped my daughter move from Boise to Corpus Christi, and her kitty cat did not do well in the 3 days we were on the road, just 3 days.
Yeah.
And you'd think it would have sunk into my brain somewhere that maybe our, at the time, 12-year-old boxer could not handle it either.
Right.
What a mistake, Yeah. So.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some other, look, everyone thinks it's easy. Like you thought it was easy. We thought it was going to be easy. Let's talk about some things that haven't been easy. The dogs being one of them.
Yeah.
What's another aspect of this that you did not anticipate, whether it's financial or emotional or just plain physically tiring? Like what is it that you were like, wow, I didn't anticipate that was going to be a gut punch?
Do I have to be honest?
Yeah.
PSA, my house is an open door. Like I've always had an open door. And
we can relate. We did too in our home.
I had hoped because I have, I'm one of 5 siblings and parents that, one parent that's still alive and stuff. So they knew what I was doing and, kind of maybe supported me a little bit, but,
More
whatever.
places to stay.
More places to stay. I thought I'd have, I didn't think that would be as hard if I needed. I mean, I had a home base. I had a plan of a home base to be my mom's in New Jersey and to be able to help her when I needed to help her.
Right.
And I did do that in the beginning, but, it gets old and I get it. So that's been, I would say that's been the most difficult is scheduling.
Yeah.
You guys know, you're always like, okay, where to next? And is it an Airbnb? Right. Is it a family member? Is it a friend? Is it a hotel? Is it a campground in an RV? Like the logistics.
Right. And you always know when you feel it a little bit when your welcome is sort of run out.
Oh, for sure.
Like we'll feel it with you in the next 36 hours. But if I know us as well as I do.
For sure. Yeah. I can't.
It is strange too when you feel it from family or really close friends.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
you know.
Yeah. And I get it. I get it. I'm excited to land somewhere and to just have my open door again, because that's how my house was here. It was like, I had a lot of people have to stay with me when they needed help or whatever they needed. So
that is always disappointing though, Donna. Like it doesn't, it's like when you're a certain way.
Yeah.
And I think the most disappointing in life with anyone is when you behave a certain way and you just expect everyone else to behave the way that you behave toward them.
Yeah.
And it is disappointing, especially like during this time when like, this is only going to be the one time. Like, you're not going to be a traveler the next 15 years. Like this is just one time. Right. So to hear a no, or that schedule doesn't work with my schedule, or can we make it another time? And you're like, well, I'm here now. Like I can't make it another time.
Right.
You know, like okay, so it's not going to happen. So I get it. I totally get it. And it's like, this is it. Like you can't do it now. I'm not going to need it in 2 months. I'm not going to need it in a year.
Right.
I know.
Right. And that hasn't been a huge part of it because I'm not a great planner. I think you guys are probably better planners. And I think it's nice to have somebody to bounce it off of. And I don't have anybody to bounce it off of.
Right.
It's like I'm making these decisions and it's kind of like, okay. And it's all worked out for sure, but that's been stressful to make the decision of where next. And I'm sure the same with you guys. I have a lot of people asking like, where to next? Where to next? I don't always know.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure where to next after this. I have an idea, but I'm not 100% sure.
So I asked you the other day, I said, do you have a bestie? Because just even podcasting, James and I have ideas to bounce off of. Then just on the road, we can switch off on driving. Like if we want to make a destination, and sometimes we don't like to travel more than we've talked about it, 6 hours. But if we want to get there, we have let's just make it and get there in 8. Then we'll switch off. You don't have a switch off partner for driving. You don't have anyone to talk to in the car. So what do you do? Like I asked you, who's your bestie? Like who do you talk to? How do you connect if like you're solo all the time?
Yeah, I definitely am on the phone a lot. Like I will call like a best friend or my sister. Like my sister's been, when I'm kind of like, help, I need help. I'll shout out to my sister, and just those long road trips, you have conversations with family and friends for sure. Yeah, there's a couple of them that I just kind of on speed dial. Like, do you have a minute to talk? I really need to flesh this out.
Yeah,
and like on my birthday. It was my sister on my birthday. I woke up on my 60th birthday in an RV that I had borrowed from a friend to do this cross-country trip. And I woke up and the sink was flooding.
Oh.
And the toilet was overflowing.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy 60th birthday to me. Water follows me, so I just laughed. And I was kind of freaking out.
Yeah.
I was like, kind of in a not so good way on my birthday. And so either my sister maybe she called me to say happy birthday. I can't remember if I called her or she called me, but I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know, do I turn around? Do I find somebody to fix it? The dogs are with me. So I ended up finding someone to fix it and turning around. But she talked me through that day. She's like, listen, it's your birthday.
Yeah.
Go do something fun.
Aw, what did you do?
So I got on my little Harvest Host, which I told you guys about, and I
tell everyone what Harvest Host is.
Yeah, Harvest Host is an app that you use when you're traveling with an RV, and you can go and stay at these places for free, and for
an exchange of
like you have to spend a certain amount of money, and it's usually between like $40 and $60 on either a meal or something they're selling. Sometimes they're wineries or breweries, so you can buy a bottle of wine or buy a gift or something. So that was great for my short little RV stint. But so my sister, she was just a great help, saying, take the day, do something fun. So I looked on a map and I was like, Lake Erie is an hour and a half north. That's a body of water I can plunge in.
Nice.
And it was October at the time, so it was chilly. So that was good. And I just found one of the Harvest Host places, and it was perfect. And they allowed the dogs in the restaurant, so I was able to have a nice meal, have a nice little glass of cider, and enjoy my birthday as best I could.
Aww.
Yeah.
So what made you decide, how long had you been traveling in your Jeep and then decided to try the RV? What made you decide an RV? What was the reason?
Well, because when I originally started thinking about this, an RV was a consideration. Like I even thought of selling my house, buying an RV, and doing this whole thing in an RV, just because I thought with the dogs that might be easier.
Yeah.
But I, in the long run, didn't want to put the investment in an RV. I was like, I don't know.
People underestimate what it really costs.
It's a big investment.
It is.
It's a big investment. But I have a good friend who was kind enough to say, I was like, you know what? It's my 60th birthday. I'd love to go end up in San Diego with my kids for my 60th.
So you were going to go from Massachusetts to San Diego.
Yeah, and actually New Jersey to San Diego.
Okay.
Yeah, I was kind of in that, probably at my mom's at that point. And so New Jersey to San Diego. And I made it to Ohio.
Well, you got a nice cold plunge in.
I did get a nice cold plunge, and I got to experience what it would be like to be in an RV. And I would definitely do it again, probably a little bit smaller, maybe more like a van.
Okay.
A little Sprinter van or something.
So it was a little large?
It was a little large, it was a little loud, and by myself with the dogs. Have you guys, either of you driven in an RV?
No, I have not.
Yeah, so warning, my friend was good at, we had some test runs, and the last warning was when trucks drive by, you're gonna feel it.
Yeah.
And you feel it.
Oh.
Like I couldn't take one hand off the entire time I was driving the RV.
Ooh.
So like when the dogs are, they're in a crate, so they're safe, but you still kind of check on them a little bit. But when one of the tractor trailers on Route 80 go by, like you feel it.
Are you white knuckling?
You're white knuckling the whole time.
Oh, your neck must have been so
This
sore.
whole
All
time.
the way from Jersey to Ohio. Just
Yeah.
white knuckling.
My jaw would have been really tight. Just
Yeah.
Oh,
So and it took me, double the amount of time because I was driving slowly and I was, checking on the dogs and yeah. So we'll revisit that in a yeah.
All right. So tell me though, out of all your travels,
Yes.
we left off somewhere around Michigan,
We did.
upstate New York, if I'm not mistaken.
Michigan.
But out of all your travels, any really surprising or fun things, like anything that you'll never ever forget that has happened along the way? Like tell us some of the, like has one of your friends called and said, I'm tired of my kids, come by and pick me up and take me to Kalamazoo or something, like anything like that at all?
Yeah, no, I haven't had anything crazy like that. I had a friend who was like, I want to come when I was in upstate New York, and she saw the pictures of the body of water and the beautiful creek, and she's like, can I come? I was like, come, and she ended up coming up and
nice.
spending some time with me. That was nice. My girlfriend in North Carolina, her husband is an incredible musician, and we ended up like having these great little kind of sing-alongs at night, and I remember just going to bed that night like smiling. I was like, this has really been, that was a really special time to like be reunited with them and forgetting I hadn't seen her, she was a college friend, hadn't seen her in so long, and remembering what a great musician her husband was. It was just fun to, there's been a lot of fun.
I'm not going to lie, I've
underestimated
the value of reconnecting with people throughout our travels.
Yeah.
Huh, really? You were sitting so soft. You were getting so soft.
I know.
With one day of a polar plunge, and you are already
look
like...
at my mood.
He's reflective.
So,
I see him reflecting.
I know. I'm going to go out and see the Bob Marley movie tonight.
One day of the polar plunge, you were a changed man. I cannot believe this.
I'm Gandhi.
Yeah.
I'm fixed.
Here you are fixed. Go ahead. Continue with your sentimental reconnection.
So I just want to pick up on the other places you've been and where you think you're heading.
Yeah, so last on my list was Tennessee.
Okay.
How did that even come up? I have to ask.
I know.
Because it's not warm particularly. I'm sorry, it's not particularly cold. It's moderate. I would say the temperature in Tennessee is moderate.
Yeah.
So how did that even
And I didn't, temperature wasn't a thing. Tennessee was on my list right around the time when I was thinking about moving. Tennessee was on my list. Just, it kept coming into my awareness. Like it kept coming, people would talk about it. Friends that I know, relatives that I know, and I kept saying, "Oh, Tennessee, I don't know anything about it," But I was like, you know what? I'll just note that and put it on my list for when I'm going to do my travels. And it was definitely it's literally on the bottom, just because I knew it was like Maine, Vermont, places that I knew, places that I felt safe, places that I knew were cold, had some water, And I didn't know anything about Tennessee, so I kept...
Not cold, it doesn't have water.
Exactly. Not cold.
I mean, it's cold, but it's not Vermont cold and Maine cold. So did you make it to Tennessee?
Yeah, so I made it to Tennessee twice.
Okay, and what, Tennessee is big.
Parts,
yeah. Like, how do you pick?
Yeah, so the first time I thought, okay, I'm going to go with the dogs. Maybe I won't go all the way to Nashville, which was originally where that's what kept coming to my awareness, like the Nashville area for whatever reason.
Do you listen to country music?
Because it's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I listen to a little bit. I'm not a lot. I mean, do I like it? Yeah,
but it wasn't because of that.
So it wasn't the music scene. No. I'm not like I love music, but I'm not a rhinestone cowgirl. I'm not a music scene kind of girl, but I like it.
Okay.
So again, it was just like this inner kind of feeling, kind of knowing like you got to get there. But so I still was avoiding that area, and I was like, well, I'll go to the Smoky Mountains because I've heard those are nice. And that's not as far. That's whatever it was, 12 hours or something. I can bring the dogs. I can get a cabin. I love that. Maybe I'll like the Smoky Mountains, and I won't have to go as far as Nashville. I won't have to go that far west.
Right.
And so I did that and ended up extending that stay. I think I was supposed to stay for 5 days, and I ended up extending it to 10. Not so much because I liked it, although I loved it, but with the 2 dogs, I was telling James and his niece the other day, once I get somewhere, they think it's home.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, this is home, right? And I'm like, oh God, we're packing up after 4 days. So a lot of times I'm like, okay, we're going to stay another 5 days, and you guys can pretend this home is home. And people in, I was in Gatlinburg. I was in, oh gosh, a name that I can't even pronounce. So I'm going to say I was in Gatlinburg because I was. But and I can't remember the other city at the moment, but in that general area. And it was beautiful. People were probably so far, I would say, the nicest people.
They're really nice there. Because you have Johnson City there. You have Pigeon Forge.
Okay, so that that was
like
the other one.
Dollyland.
Yes,
and all that
I
stuff.
did go to Dollyland.
And then
you did
North Carolina.
Dollyland.
You can hit a rock.
Yeah.
You can hit North Carolina with a stone just over the mountains there. So it's a great region.
Yeah, no, it was really nice.
Very
I was
nice
surprised. The people, I was just I wasn't surprised about the people. I was surprised about Dollyland.
Oh, was it fabulous?
It was, I was just surprised. I was like, it was kind of like, I turned down the street and I was like, oh, this is the Vegas of Tennessee.
It is, for sure.
I didn't know that.
Do I call it, is it Dollywood or Dollyland? It's Dollywood.
Dollywood, like Hollywood.
Dollywood.
Dollywood.
I said Dollyland.
Oh, I didn't.
Like Dalai Lama.
I'm Dalai Lama now that I've had a cold plunge. All right, anyway.
So Dollywood,
Yeah, I was surprised. I knew Dollywood was there.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was like, oh, it is like the Vegas of, anyway, it was nice. I just took a drive. I took a walk. It was, what time of year were we? We were November, so they were all set up for Christmas.
Okay.
So it was pretty.
Yeah.
And what was the weather like in November?
And the weather in November was mild. It was mild.
What's mild for you?
Oh my gosh. Let me, I'm going to say it was probably 60s when I was there.
For some people, that would be a little chilly.
Okay.
It's a little arid for you.
Yeah, it is. I'm just trying to remember too if I had found any water when I was there, or if that was a stretch where I did not find any cold plunging in Gatlinburg. I don't think I did.
Oh, really?
There's water up in the mountains.
There are rivers and little lakes and stuff.
Yeah.
Many that are off the beaten path. Like if you're not a local, you probably may not know. Or
I don't think I found bodies of water there. I think it was called showers when I was in Gatlinburg.
Okay.
So you're there for 10 days, and what's your feel when you have to pack up and leave? Are you like, all right, like Michigan, great visit, see you one day, or were you like,
For that, I thought I was debating between keep going west, because I think I was only 3 hours from Nashville.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. So did you do it?
But because of the dogs, I knew once I got to Nashville, I had to stay long, and I had to talk to a realtor, and I had to really look at it. Why am I being called here? You know, I need to spend a lot of time. And with 2 dogs, I can't leave them in the Airbnbs. I don't like to do that for long, because it's a new place and it's a new environment for them, and I don't want to put them in the crate for 5 hours in an Airbnb.
Right.
So I was like, So I literally was like, do I go 3 hours west or do I head back to Jersey? Mm-hmm. And it was like flipping a coin. And I finally said, I will go back to Nashville by myself. So I turned around. And it was a good thing, because everyone started calling me. My phone blew up because there was a tornado warning, and
No way.
it did hit in November. If we go back,
Where, near Nashville?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I remember
You made
getting
a good
calls
decision.
from my family, like, where are you? Because you said you were going to Nashville. And I was like, I'm in Virginia in a hotel, and it was torrential pouring rain. It followed me like it was coming from that way, and it was kind of pushing me east, back to New Jersey. So, yeah.
Wow, you made a good decision.
I did make a good decision.
So then did you ever make it back to Nashville?
Yeah. So then about a month and a half later, I went to Nashville.
Not very long at all.
Did you drive or fly?
Gosh, I drove.
Okay.
I
Without
drove.
the dogs?
Without the dogs, by myself. Set up times with a realtor ahead of time. I was pretty organized. This was probably my most organized trip.
You had to make the most of that time, right?
I had to make the most of the time. And I only had, I don't even think I had a full week. I think I had 5 days. And of course, one of those days is travel days, the day back. So I think I had 3 full days in the Nashville area with a realtor. And she was unbelievable, like Amy Cotney. She was unbelievable. Kim, and she's great. And
Oh, great.
she was great. And she had everything set up for me. Like I said to her, I have this much time. And the first day she was like, you need to go to this coffee shop, and you need to go to this area, and you need to go here for lunch, and then this.
Wow.
She had it all mapped up. Like she's
So
like,
you didn't
here's.
just have like a caravan of houses. She gave you actual destinations.
She gave me destinations. We had
wanted
been
you to feel
looking.
the community.
She wanted me to feel the community, so which was great. But we were also in those same places. She's like, look in this area, and then get your cup of coffee, and you look at. So she was great, and I was
great.
like, I said to her, I wouldn't have been able to do what I did in those 3 days without her, because the first day was just okay. Let's check out. I said to her, I don't even know. I could come and say, hey, why am I here?
Yeah.
Like I don't know why I'm here. I don't like it. But so it was just nice to have that map of what to do the first day. And
Wow,
then
that sounds like a great agent.
the second
honestly,
day,
like not just showing you house. It was like she took you around.
Sounds like she was prepared for somebody who was coming from outside of that area.
That's what her specialty is.
Is that right?
It's great. Yeah, she was.
Awesome.
I was so grateful for her to do.
You can
that.
give her a plug if you want.
I will give her a plug. Anyway, so then the second day was from those areas. I was like, okay, I kind of like this area, and we did look at houses the second day, and then a couple more houses the third day, and there was still something that was calling me there, and I still can't put my finger on it, but I'm going back. So,
Okay, so how is Nashville different than Gatlinburg? Like, what was it like? You went back to Nashville to just kind of visit it, and then now you think that might be the area.
Yeah, the people. I think it was the people too. Like Gatlinburg, the people were just so nice. People were really nice, and I guess more of a city like Gatlinburg, and is more in the mountains, which sounds like that's more like me. Then I'm not exactly the city, and I'm looking outside of Nashville, not in Nashville, because I don't really love the city. I love to have a city close by, like you guys do.
Yeah,
right.
To be able
Your kids
to
can fly
go.
right into Nashville. You can fly out to San Diego.
Exactly.
Boom, boom.
Yeah.
we have a lot of similarities in what we're looking for. Even our price points are pretty similar. You know, we wanted to stay around $500,000, and I know that's like what your price point is too.
Yeah.
You want to be near an airport. You like good food. You kind of want to sort of be, from my feeling, it's like near where a little bit of hustle and bustle. So when your kids come to visit, there's something to do.
Right.
So you know, I do find that our similarities in where we want to buy a home, you know, coincide.
Right.
So we just don't like cold weather.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of growing on me.
I was
gotta
going to
be
say,
honest.
after today, he's going.
Well,
you guys
I
are going to
shoveled
end up.
snow. I've done a cold plunge.
Yeah.
I still have yet to buy gloves, so
I know.
I'm hanging. I'm doing it. I'm doing all right.
Hanging. So, okay, you've been doing this for 9 months, and we get asked the question all the time. And I know you mentioned it too, like, what's your next place? But like, minus the next place. When do you think, like, when do you feel like you'll be ready? Because that's different than the next place, you know? So what is it, like in 6 months, 3 months, a year? Like what, like, do you have a time frame, or you just really just day by day?
I'm leaning more into day by day now.
Okay.
I am leaning more into day by day. In the beginning, I think I said, like, I thought it would be 4 to 6 months. And I thought by 6 months, I'm going to know where I want to be. Yeah. And now we're 9 months in, and I'm kind of feel like I'm not necessarily at square one, but I feel like I kind of like did like a little loop, and I'm kind of back, like I said, not necessarily where I started, but so I would love to be somewhere in the next 3 to 4 months, but who knows?
Okay, so by summer maybe, but you're just going to sort of.
But I don't want to rush it. I tend to rush things. I'm very impatient. So this has been like
this is 9 months. I would not say you've rushed anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it.
No, but I'm not saying in past, like I'm impatient. So this has been a test to, and
you've done great. It's 9 months.
Thank God you're doing
That's like
cold
amazing.
plunges.
I was just gonna say the cold plunges
Or she's
are
been
helping.
living in Vermont now.
She would.
First stop. I'm done.
I know.
You're like, I'm in a
And I
town with
could've.
800 people. I'm good.
Or
I could've.
Maine
There
was
were-
the first stop. Sorry. So
No.
Maine is what I meant. Like first stop, I'm done. Okay, found my house.
Yeah. I mean, there were definitely a couple houses in Vermont that I could have made offers and been in a house by July, for sure. And in hindsight, I'm glad that I didn't do that. So it's like I'm glad that I'm where I am. We're all exactly where we're supposed to be. So I don't know how you guys are doing it for a year and a half now.
Yeah. But like you, we needed a base camp. And that's the one thing is that we'll just talk about that.
Yeah.
Like people don't realize, and we didn't realize when we started this, how important a base camp is. And then we met a woman who's an international traveler, and we did a podcast episode with her. Her name is Nora. And she was telling us how she didn't realize she needed a base camp until she realized she needed a base camp. And she went back to Canada and got an apartment just so she would have a base camp when she, just needed to regroup. And I can't explain it as any other way, like regroup, because there's something about, I don't know, you could be in a place for 30 days, a month. It's different than having your base camp. And it's mental. It's got to be mental, right?
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Because like your mom's is a base camp.
And
And
my
it's
mom's
like,
was a base camp.
Yes.
The pups were happy there. This has been a base camp for me. This is a good friend of mine who has, like, it's a base camp. And I just, you can kind of like, like take a breath.
Definitely.
You take a breath and regroup. You just have to regroup.
You need
like, living out of suitcases, as you guys know, and living out of the back of your car. And it's like, can I just unpack for longer than a week or longer than 5 days or however long it ends up being?
So I think the reason
base camp is
we were
important.
able to do it for a year and a half. Like you said, I don't know how. I'm like, because we have a base camp. Well, the Florida house is the base camp, and so we'll just go back. I mean, last year I think we were only there for 4 months out of the whole year, but that 4 months was split up: 1 month here, 1 month here, 1 month there, 2 months here, whatever it was. And that was much needed to regroup.
Yeah.
You just need to recalibrate.
Yeah.
And you can't do it. Sometimes you can't do it on the road. No matter how comfortable your Airbnb is or how comfortable your hotel is, you still don't get the same amount of sleep as you do when you're settled. And I can't explain it.
Yeah. No.
It's weird.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to like the next place, but grateful for this time for sure. I'm like so grateful.
So are you still zeroing in on Nashville, that area?
I am.
Or is there somewhere else? Like has anything else cropped up on your radar?
Right now, there's nowhere else that I want to go back to for a long period of time besides the Nashville area.
That's a huge sign.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
God, we love Nashville.
It's a great
Are
city.
you looking for a 3-bedroom, right?
I am looking
We need
for
a base camp.
You guys
We
are
do need a base camp.
open invite for sure.
We love your open door policy. Take advantage of that.
So I do have to ask you, do you have any, like, I don't know, like, I don't want to say words of wisdom, but just like anything you can share about like you doing this, if there's anyone listening, a single woman who wants to do it but doesn't know if she should, or it's so easy to do, I think. Okay, first of all, let me take that back. It isn't easy to do even if you have a partner. I was about to say it's easy to do if you have a partner. That is not true, because we've met hundreds of people who have said, I could never do what you're doing, although I think about like all the time.
Right.
Oh, I have a funny story. Real quick side note. We were in Guilford, and I went into like a day spa thing. And I just wanted to get a facial. My skin was just bad.
Yeah, all the different waters. We
all
talked
the different
about
waters,
all the different waters.
all the different waters,
Yeah.
and all the different soaps you're using in different places. Anyway, so I was having a terrible breakout session, and I went into this spa, and the woman behind the desk, I didn't realize it, but she was the owner. She was so sweet, and she was telling me about her spa, and it was beautiful. And I was talking to her, and somewhere along the conversation, there was a gentleman behind the counter as well. He was doing something on the computer. I'd said, "Oh, I travel a lot. My skin's just, I'm having a bad breakout, I think, because of all the different water types I've been in, whatever." And I said to her about, I was a travel podcaster. This gentleman from behind the counter looks up and he goes, oh my God, I want to do that. He goes, I look at my life and say to myself, why am I just sitting here and doing this every day? I want to do what you're doing. And she looked at him and she just stared at him. And then she looked at me and she said, okay, let's get started. And I thought, he's getting fired, right? Like that's like, he just literally said in front of this woman who owns this, that he doesn't want to work here anymore. It was her husband. It was her husband. I was like, oh my God. So
he's
anyway,
unfortunately not getting fired.
no, he's not getting fired. I could not believe it. And anyway, all that to say, we hear couples, but you're a single woman. I find what you're doing so inspiring and brave and just courageous. I mean, same as brave. I don't know, like you balanced your checkbook well enough to be able to do this. You planned, even though, you know, you're like, it was not whimsical. Like, you know, you planned it. You're doing it. You don't complain. You're like, there's somebody out there like you that just can't do it or is afraid. Like anything you can lend, like.
Well, like your friend in the store, I get a lot of that too. Like people are so curious and they ask you a million questions, which I love because that's so, you know, like, you know, maybe you inspired them. Maybe they're going to pack up the store and, you know, get their RV
Maybe
and
he
do
left
it.
her.
Yeah.
I think she left him, babe.
I bet she did. He didn't get fired, but he did get reprimanded.
I think
he got punished.
I left.
Yeah.
He's out the door.
But I do get a lot of that. I do get a lot of, wow, oh my gosh, I want to do that. Or I've always wanted to do that. And the first thing I say to people is do it. Like, life is too short.
Yeah.
Like, do it. Do it. I'm telling you, do it. You know? But the other thing is, like, trust your intuition. Like, if you're feeling like you want to do it or you want to, like, just rent an RV. I mean, renting an RV, I think, is a great option if short term you're curious about it.
Right.
Like, if you're curious, rent an RV. Or, you know, there's so many groups. I'm on so many different Facebook groups, although they overwhelm me, of like van life for women, you know, and it's mostly single women.
Wow. Okay.
It's a very cool Facebook group, but because I don't have a van yet.
You haven't been accepted.
I mean, I'm accepted because I don't know. I guess
because you're a woman and you're
traveling.
I'm a woman.
You
just don't have the
You're
same
just a
vehicle.
pledge.
And I'm traveling alone.
Yeah.
But they give so much wisdom on those groups. So there's so many groups out there that are doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely something you're going to look back. You're never going to look back and say, I regret that time.
Right.
Like, you guys are never going to look back. I'm never going to. I know that I'm not going to regret it. I want to be able to, like, enjoy it in the moment and be grateful in the moment. So that's what I'm trying to do, even though there are lots of, like, ups and downs and, you know, the dogs and family and stress and money and where am I going next and I'm crazy, what am I doing? And most people do think you're crazy. So
it's okay.
Yeah. And I'm happy with that label of crazy. So it's good.
Have you found yourself in any precarious situation as a woman by herself traveling? We were on a hike today, and I said to you, when you hike by yourself, do you carry pepper spray? And you said no, and I was like, that's insanity. I'm literally in my head, I was like,
she's buying me pepper spray.
I'm going on Amazon to send her pepper spray because I was like, how are you not hiking without pepper spray? And you're beautiful, so it's like, are you ever getting the heebie-jeebies even at a gas station at night when you're by yourself? Like, you know.
Yeah, so far I can't think of one instance that I have, although I'm super careful. Like, I'm not going to a gas station at night. Like, I'm making sure the tank is full before I pull into, I'm sure, as you guys. I mean, it's just,
Oh, no, we don't do that at all.
Yeah.
We do sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes we do, depending on where we're going.
Yeah, you're right. That we never. Like,
we're not as careful as we should be.
Right, but that is like, we do think, like, we will look at the gas tank.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that because we will know where we're going ahead of time. And are we on F? Are we on E? Are we in the middle? Where are we? And we will stop at, like, you know, one of the big ones off the freeway.
Right.
There have been times where we've been on E and I said, just keep going. Like, we can't stop here. So so you do think ahead. Like, I'm not going to stop in the dark.
I think the only, like, and it wasn't even a bad experience, but I stopped really tired, and it probably was on that back from Gatlinburg, somewhere in Virginia. I don't remember where, but I didn't have an Airbnb booked or a hotel booked, and it was kind of like get off and get myself settled because it was pouring rain.
Yeah.
And I needed a place to stay, and it was not the nicest place to stay. I probably just slept a couple hours because it was not clean, and a little sketchy area, and I was like, I didn't sleep great, and I wanted to just get on the road the next day. So that's probably the worst that it's been, but I am very careful and don't fill my gas tank after dark.
You're getting a taser in the stocking this Christmas from the Skip Town All-Stars. Don't worry, you're going to be good.
I actually, we are the same person. Like I literally, when I was hiking with her, I was like, I'm going to buy her a taser. I'm getting her either pepper spray or taser.
Denise is really into tasers.
I'm surprised my kids haven't gotten me that. I'm
kind of surprised they haven't
I'm surprised
either.
too. I might have to talk to them about that.
I'm going to get you the taser where you hit it and like the strings fly like 10, 15 feet and it sticks to the person. That's what I'm going to get you.
Okay.
I've seen those.
Thank you.
Yeah.
She's a huge fan.
I am.
She's watched more than a few episodes of Cops.
Yeah. No more Dateline in the.
No,
There are certain things that you will not watch because
we do need to talk about that real quick. Certain genres of films that you will avoid.
Well, she won't watch Dateline. Okay, we already
I don't
know
blame
that.
her. I don't watch Dateline. It's scary to me.
No, I do watch Dateline. That's the problem.
Oh, I think you don't watch Dateline.
No, I don't. I mean, I try not to, but sometimes I get sucked in. So I don't like scary. I don't like anything like too scary.
I know, we talked about
even
it,
like the movie last night was just I was like screaming.
Oh yeah.
We did. We watched a movie called The Finest Hours, which is based in Chatham.
Yeah.
Chatham.
Yeah.
Oh,
Chatham.
I know. I'm saying it wrong.
Chatham.
Chatham. And it's like a movie, like it was done in 2016, and it's about a Coast Guard in 1952.
Yeah.
4 Coast Guards that saved a ship. Of 32 men, and during the movie we were both like, because it was suspenseful.
It was pretty suspenseful.
It was like an hour, 2 hour suspense, right? It was like 2 hours of suspense.
And
that's a lot for me.
It was
an early night after that.
She had to go to bed. But the interesting thing is that the actual boat from the Coast Guard is here in this town, and you can go right by the lighthouse where the whole movie is, filmed, and see the actual boat that was used to save these 32 men out in the ocean. It was pretty incredible.
It was incredible. I'm so glad you guys got to see that while you were here.
I know.
I'm glad you brought it up. I knew nothing about that movie.
Yeah, that was fun. It was fun to go back for me too, because I hadn't seen it in 8 years, 10 years.
Yeah, we made Donna see it again.
Yeah.
But it's been so great being able to talk to you about your journey, meeting somebody who's doing exactly what we're doing, like almost in our footsteps, minus the weather. But you've got the dogs. You're hitting the cities like we're hitting them. Also trying to figure out how to cut corners financially certain ways. I mean, best places to stay away from, people that are nice, not nice. It's so interesting how there's so much going on in the travels that we're doing and that you're doing. Very similar.
Yeah. And I'm so grateful for you guys, because you guys are like kind of paving the way, and I can bounce things off of you guys, and like you said, different cities, and did you like this, and did you not like this, and what did you like? So I'm grateful that we connected. Yeah.
I feel the same way. Are you kidding? Oh my gosh, it's been great. So thank you so much for doing this episode with us. This is really fantastic. I think a lot of people are going to find this really inspirational. I mean, you are. You're so inspirational.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for hosting us this week. Thank you so much for doing the show with us. And, best of luck in and around Franklin, Tennessee. Can't wait to see where you're traveling next once you get settled in the next 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. That's it for today. Thank you again to Donna. Why don't you take them out?
Empty nest, full tank.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.